Hello everyone, it's Snowmaning back with a long follow-up video to my best of 2016. I have no reason for my absence with the exception of just being lazy. That's it. This is a reply to a reply to a reply video of Stone Cold classic black metal albums. My video is going to be a little different. I watched Scourge of Vinyl's video, and I really liked what he did with black metal classics from around the world, and I'm going to do the same formula as he did. I don't have as many black metal albums as I did, say, 20 years ago when I was really into it as in my late teenager, early 20s, things like that. I really sort of outgrew black metal. Yeah, that's just pretty much it. I held on to a lot of the classics, and there a lot of bands are still making really good albums, but I'd say this as you know what, there's no need to explain. I'm just going to go into it right now. I'm going to start off with CDs, and then move into vinyl. Even though all the vinyl I have on CD as well, but I just like to show off my vinyl. That's just me. So let's get started. This first one here, I wouldn't say it's a classic, but it's definitely was a classic. Was amongst my friends and I back in the day. It's a compilation, and it's a Firestarter. It was put out by Century Media on their sub label Century Black. And it really helped us discover bands from around the world. And we listened to this very much. And then we listened to bands like we knew bands like Emperor, and actually I think Emperor was the only band that we knew. No, we knew Samael and Mayhem, stuff like that. But we didn't know bands like Borknagar or Satyricon or Einherjar or Rotting Christ. So that opened up a door for us. Or this album opened up a door for us, and we picked up a whole lot of stuff because of this album. And this is the promotional copy. So I got the match there for obviously Burning Churches. So yeah, this really was a great Stone Cold classic for me. I like this album a lot. I still play it semi regularly. Great stuff. This next one, to me, a lot of people can say that it's either this one or the self-titled Bathory as the first ever black metal album. But to me, this album is the first black metal album ever, and I'm talking about Venom's black metal. They're from the UK, and there were a lot of bands at the time doing heavy metal, and these guys wanted to do something a little more, wanted to push the envelope just a little more, and they did with albums like, with the previous album Welcome to Hell, and then they pushed the envelope just a little bit even further with this album black metal. And this influenced, I can't even begin to say how many bands of the second wave of black metal that this album influenced. Even bands of the third wave of black metal this album influenced, and even bands of even death metal bands this album influenced. This album just this is a great album, practically flawless. I love this album very much, and there's not really a whole lot to say. I really like it. It's definitely a classic without a doubt. Stone Cold classic. You can attach any classic to it, and it's just awesome. I love this album very much. I'm probably going to get blasted a lot for it, but you know what? That's fine with me. Blast away. Venom Black Metal. If you don't own it, please buy it. You won't regret it. Thank you very much. This next album is from Brazil. Another album of the first wave of black metal. Sarcophago with INRI or INRI. These guys weren't, I don't think they intended on making black metal. I really don't. They just wanted to make something extreme. Like something that no one had ever seen before. Volcano had made an album before that, Bloody Vengeance, I think it was called. I can't recall, but I know I'm getting it in the mail, but I can't recall the name of it. But that album was awesome, and this album is awesome too. These guys just wanted to make something extreme, something really, really extreme, and they did. They did definitely, and you know, it's a great album. It's influential beyond belief, and yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. You know, you hear the name Sarcophago, or Sarcophago, however you want to pronounce it, and then immediately you think about this album, and it's a phenomenal album, definitely a classic. Has first wave of black metal written all over it. Influenced bands such as Sepultura, Overdose. It's incredible. It really is. This next band is coming from Finland. Now, when people think of Finland, they usually think of bands like Impaled Nazarene or Beherit, which I have absolutely no problem with. Both bands are great in their own right. But when I think of Finland, I think of Thy Serpent, and this album is Lords of the Twilight. I really, really like this album. This is one of very few albums that I actually like the synth work as well as the music. This is a very evil, very dark album. I don't think there's any special guests or anything on it. It's just a very evil album. It's done with a drum machine. I highly recommend this album if you're into Finnish black metal. I recommend the one previous to this one too, as well as Christ Crusher if you're into Finnish black metal. It's recorded at Tico Tico. Just really, really, really good stuff. Released, I think, in 96. Yeah, it's just really, really good. I like it a lot. I really do. Now moving on to Switzerland. Samael, Ceremony of Opposites. This album is done entirely in the same key throughout the whole album. But to me, this album is flawless. I love it a lot. Very evil, very dark, and Vorflag does an incredible job on drums, and when people think of Samael, they usually think of their later work, and this was the last Samael album that I truly, truly loved. I mean, I like some of their later stuff. Passage has a few good songs. After that, they lost me, but then Above came out, and that had some really great songs. And then after that, I don't really recall listening to any of their albums after that. Maybe I'll give them a try, maybe I won't. But this was the last one that I really, really loved. Well, that, and of course, the Rebellion EP. But this was the last Samael full length that I really, really loved. And this was from Switzerland. Not too many bands from Switzerland, at least not that I can recall. Of course, there's Celtic Frost and Hellhammer, and yeah, this is great. I highly recommend picking this up. This is just for any black metal fan, hell, any death metal fan as well. Yeah. And this next one is from Portugal. Now, I don't know many bands from Portugal at all besides Moonspell, which is kind of coincidental because this is a side project of Moonspell. This was released between the Sindicato album and the Butterfly Effect album, I believe. This is Damon Ark, and what is this album? A Monster. This album was released in 1998, and features, I think, 3 members of Moonspell, and this album is just beyond killer. Definitely a classic. It's one of those albums that you wish you wish that they had made another one, but at the same time you're satisfied with just one. Yeah, that's all I can really say about this. I'm really glad I picked this up finally. I'd been putting it off for years and years, but I'm glad I finally picked it up. It's a great album. Highly recommend it if you're if you're an early Moonspell fan, or just a fan of second wave of black metal. Yeah. Now we're on to my favorite country of black metal, Sweden. This is The Abyss, the other side. Now, this is Hypocrisy, the death metal band Hypocrisy, playing different instruments and playing black metal. This album is from start to finish flawless. I love this album. There's not really much to say about this album. It's just Hypocrisy playing different instruments, and it's melodic black metal. It is with a Hellhammer cover. It is incredible. They released another album after this, which was almost as good. I really like this album. I really do. Still in Sweden, Diabolical Masquerade, a side project of Anders Nyström from Catatonia. This is, as he goes under the moniker Blackheim, this is Diabolical Masquerade with Raven Dusk in My Heart, a great black metal album that features the Swano sound. If you're not familiar with the Swano sound, buy albums by the album Merciless Unbound, Sacramentum, Far Away from the Sun, etc., and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Great atmosphere on this album, very haunting, just really sets the mood for a great feeling. It's a great album. I can't really describe it. It's just great. I love it. Now, this album, there's not really a whole lot to say about this. This album is the most brutal album I have ever heard in my entire life. It was love at first listen. Marduk, Panzer Division Marduk. That's all I can say. This is definitely a classic. This is an album you either love or hate, and I love it. I could listen to it all the time. Definitely a classic. It just proves once again that any album with a tank on it is awesome. And that's all there is to it. Now we get into Norway. Ancient, the Canadian Chronicle, vampiric black metal that features once again the Suano sound. Great album, great atmosphere, great, great. The music sets a tone for just can't really describe it. It's just I don't know. I just like it. I mean, what's there? What else more is there to say? You know, besides the fact that you just like the album and you think that it's a classic. I mean, yeah. Arcturus Constellation. This was the EP. This was a side project of Garm, Hellhammer, Sverd, and Samoth was a session bass player on this album. And it was released on Samoth's Nocturnal Arts Productions. This is obviously a repress. This grabbed the attention of a whole lot of people, and in my opinion, this is their best work ever. So definitely a classic, a cult classic, all kinds of classics. You say, no matter what you say, this is a classic. So definitely like it. Definitely, I love it. Definitely been played lots of times. Not really much to say about it. Satyricon, Nemesis Divina. If you know the band, you know this is their best work. What else can be said about Nemesis Divina besides the fact that it's a classic? This one's kind of. This is an eye between two worlds. It became the project of Bath after Immortal folded in 2003. This is the whole black and roll feel to it. I think this is what started the genre of black and roll. It features a Bath on guitar and vocals, Armageda on drums, Icedale on guitar, and I forgot who on bass, but and Demonaz writing lyrics. This is a great album. This made my favorite album of 2006. This will definitely go down as a classic. Great groove, great melodies. Got the Motorhead vibe to it. Just a great album from start to finish. It's sad that we may not see another one. We may not see another album, but at the same time, it has the same Damon Ark feeling. You know, you're kind of glad that you aren't going to see another album, but at the same time, you wish you will. That's it. Now on to vinyl. We're at Grease now. This is Rotting Christ with Kronos. Now, I've heard a lot of Rotting Christ, and I have a lot of Rotting Christ. But this here is my favorite. This is a far cry from how they started off. But this one is my favorite. I find myself listening to this a lot, mainly because of the Abyss studio production. But I do think this is a classic in its own right. A lot of great songs. Great dark tempo. It really is great. I like it a lot, and yeah, that's all there is to it. There are many bands from Greece, but I think Rotting Christ stands above them all. Dismal Euphony, All Little Devils. Now, I know this is also a far cry from how they started, But this one for me is my favorite from them because this one sets a tone for all kinds. Well, actually, I should say that this is a fall weather album, and it's fall right now, and this is a perfect album to listen to in the fall. It just has that tone to it, or the tone to it, and that overall feeling to it, and I mean all their stuff ruled, and just too bad that they broke up, but I can understand why, and this is more of a goth feel to it, but I still consider it black metal. Great female vocals, great just tempo, and just a great overall feeling to it when you listen to it. Here's the backside. Old Man's Child, Ill-Natured Spiritual Invasion, also from Norway. This is my favorite Old Man's Child. Mainly because it sounds a lot like death metal. Galder made an awesome choice to go to Sunlight Studio and have Thomas Skogsberg and Jacques Peterson behind the mix board, mixing this up, and having Gene Hoglan on drums. I mean, just from start to finish, this album is perfect, and the Chris Verwamp artwork is just incredible. This is a true headbanger. I mean, if you really want your black metal really fast and really just in your face, this is the album to get. It's amazing artwork. I love this album. I can listen to it pretty much anytime I want. Back of it. This one is my favorite black metal album of all time. Dark Funeral, Diabolus Interium. Now, I have multiple pressings of this, as I'm sure you guys have seen. I don't know, this one is, to me, is the Rain and Blood of black metal. Just, the studio, it was produced at Studio Abyss, but it just doesn't have that Studio Abyss feel to it, you know? It's great, and I love the album. I love everything about it. It's phenomenal. It's definitely their best work. That's all I can really say. I love this album. This is my favorite black metal album of all time. Sodom, In the Sign of Evil. This is a first wave of black metal classic. You know, this, you may not think Sodom, when you think of Sodom, you don't think of black metal. When you think of Sodom, you think thrash metal, but this definitely inspired lots of the second wave of black metal bands. But you know, this is, as you can see, the pictures of them. This one definitely is a first wave of black metal classic. Just evil, grim, just terrible, just awesome. Really sets the tone of pure evil. Now this one, I didn't know, this one's from the Netherlands. I didn't know too many black metal bands from the Netherlands, besides, of course, Katahogren and Soulburn, which is kind of death metal, really, death, black, doom, whatever. But this one was really good. This is a band called Infinity. And it's a really good album. Artwork by Necrolord, as you can see. Really, really good. It's one of those albums I only allow myself to listen to in the cold, because look at that. Look at that artwork. It just sets a cold feeling to it. But it's really good. Really, really good, good black metal. Fast paced, just in your face, really, really good. It's definitely going to set up to be a classic one day. Just a really, really good album, and really glad I was able to find a copy of it. It's really good. This one, Dimmu Borgir and Thorn Darkness Trumpet from Norway. My favorite symphonic black metal album of all time. I own many copies of this, as people know, and I own 2 shirts. My favorite symphonic black metal album of all time. I love it. It's definitely a classic. This is probably many people's favorite album by them, and I can definitely hear and see why. Just amazing. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah. So that's all there really is to it. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, it's just awesome. Also from Norway, Emperor, Anthems of the Walk into Dusk. I remember my junior year of high school, first semester, this album and In Flames Horacle was pretty much all I listened to. Or no, that was this and Dissection Storm of the Light's Bane was pretty much all I listened to. And yeah. And even though I knew Storm of the Light's Bane was death metal, my death metal, and I had a black metal album that I listened to, and those 2 were it. And boy, was it awesome. It was awesome. It really was. And a lot of my friends really, we liked it. We liked it all. We liked it all. Immortal at the Heart of Winter, by far my favorite Immortal album. Needless to say, I only allow myself to listen to this album in the cold, because look at that cover, or look at that amazing cover art, and listen and look at the title of the album. I have my friend Lou to thank for turning me on to this album. He's a good guy, and I really like him a lot. A Bath and Horror on the back. This is a great album. It really is. I love it a lot. Flawless by far, and I'm really glad I was able to catch them on this tour. It was awesome. It really was. Last but not least, this is like maybe a 3rd wave of black metal. I'm not sure. Probably not. Probably still the 2nd wave. Abath, self-titled. Flawless, without a doubt, flawless. Again, another album I only allow myself to listen to in the cold, because it just has that cold atmosphere, that cold feel, and, definitely a classic, and, made a lot of people's #1 list, or top album list of 2016, and I can definitely hear why. It was just it was a great album. It's a great album, and I love it. And I think when you listen to the Demonaz album and then you listen to the Abath album, it's quite clear who the Heart of Immortal was. So yeah, that's it. Okay, those were my Stone Cold classics of black metal. You have to apologize for my speech, or whatever you call it. I haven't done a YouTube video in a while, to say the least. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave comments, negative or positive. It's all good. Hope you guys, if I haven't said it already, I'll say it again. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed making the video. You guys take care.